Hey guys, Mike Builds. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this eco-worthy 150 amp hour lithium iron phosphate 12 volt battery. This is their metal case 150 amp hour version. There is two 150 amp hour batteries, the metal case and the plastic case. The way I ended up with this originally is I went on eBay and eco-worthy was having a big sale on the plastic case 150 amp hour battery with a Bluetooth BMS. I believe the price was around $170. I bought it, and then a day later, eco-worthy emailed me through the eBay store saying they actually ran out of stock, and they actually gave me this one as an upgrade, literally for free. So that's awesome because this battery normally sells for about 260 bucks. My original goal was to review the plastic case battery, but we're just going to review this one since we have it. It is a Bluetooth compatible battery as well, so it has a Bluetooth BMS, which I'm very excited to try out because none of the other batteries I've reviewed up until this point has had a Bluetooth BMS. So obviously you get the battery itself in the package. Get some terminal covers. This is just a little guidebook. It kind of tells you charging, how to hook them up, voltages, and all that good stuff. Oh, this is interesting. Look, they even give you like a state of charge table, which is interesting because normally in lithium iron phosphate, you cannot determine the state of charge based on voltage because of how flat the charge curve is, but that is cool that they give you that information. This is just talking about the metal shell of the battery. Very interesting. Here's some more random specs for you guys to look at in case you're interested, if you want to pause the video and take a look at that. And this is the user manual for the app. We are gonna play with the app a little bit in this video. But that's it guys, just like all my other battery reviews, we're gonna take a good look at this thing. We're gonna capacity test it. We're gonna fully amp discharge test it to see how many amps we can get out of this to test the BMS out. And then we're gonna take it apart and see what's inside of it. And then we'll give our final thoughts once everything is completed. So my first impressions, this thing is beefy. It's almost like a little metal toolbox. I've never had a metal case battery. Here are your discharge terminals right here, and that's what these covers are for, so you can install these little covers to make it safe. It looks like it has a pressure relief valve right here. Here's some more specs as well. As you can see, it's rated at 150 amp hours, 1920 watt hours. It says the maximum continuous discharge current is gonna be 120 amps. Maximum charge current is 120 amps or 0.8 C. So interesting to see that. Normally these are rated at 1 C, but this is rated a little bit lower. And it says it weighs 42 pounds. What I really like about this as well is it has this really nice beefy carrying handle on the top, which is a must for a battery this big and heavy. But that's it guys. So biggest thing about it is mainly the metal case and the Bluetooth BMS. So let's go ahead and download the app and see if we can connect to it and kind of look at the initial state of the battery. Let's go ahead and open that up. If you'd like to use your Bluetooth, yes, we're gonna allow that. I have no idea how much data this is stealing off my phone. I'm sure it's a lot. That's probably it right there. Boom. Okay, so there's our battery. Okay. And that's what we're looking at. So it's at 76% state of charge. Tells us our power consumption, the battery status, remaining capacity, current battery temperature just says normal. Right here you can see single cell voltages. So they're all at 3.31. That's good to see. This is interesting. It says total battery capacity 165 amp hours, but it's a 150 amp hour battery. So I wonder what that's about. But that's it. I mean, pretty bare bones. It's mainly just for monitoring the battery itself. Well, there's not much more to look at, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and fully charge it so we can start our capacity test. So we have our standard capacity test rig set up just like we do on all our other batteries that we've tested. Using the same power meter, I did go ahead and zero this out. This is also powered by its own power supply, so this will not take away from the test at all. So all that's zeroed out. The battery is 100% fully charged. I'm also gonna pull it up in the phone app and show you guys. As you can see, we're reading 100% state of charge, so we're gonna go there. Now we're gonna put a 0.2 C load on the battery using my Harbor Freight pure sine wave inverter, and that's gonna be powering the charge inverter to charge the 48 volt power system, just like we always do. So we're going to put approximately a 30 amp load, and the way I got that is 150 divided by 5. That's 30 amps, so that's gonna be a 0.2 C load on the battery, so we're gonna go ahead and get that going, and it's 30 amps on the DC side. And once I have the current stabilized, we're gonna start the test. There's our 0.2 C load, about 30 amps, as close as I could get it. So we're gonna let this test run all the way through until either the battery shuts down or the inverter shuts down, whatever happens first, and we're gonna be able to see our final capacity number right there. Okay guys, we just finished the capacity test of this battery, and let's see what the results are. 161 amp hours, so it did pull above what it's rated. Always love to see that. Now we're gonna move on to the amp draw test. So we're gonna see how many amps we can pull out of this before the BMS shuts down, or if it even has some sort of overcurrent protection, because some of these batteries don't seem to have one that works. So there we are, we're at 109 amps. So far so good. The battery seems to be handling it just fine. The battery's rated for 120 amps, so I'm gonna crank it up to 120. There we are, we're at 120 amps, so this is the max load that this battery is rated for. So in order to make sure it can handle it, I'm gonna let it run just for a few minutes to make sure the battery doesn't shut off. Okay, no problem at 120. Now we're gonna crank it up to see if we can get it to hit the overcurrent protection in the BMS. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank the current up a little bit more. It says it'll do 130 amps for 10 seconds. 126 amps. Let's see if we can get to 130. Oh, there it went. The battery just tripped. So that does seem to be about the max you can get. The battery was able to pull 120 amps just fine, but as soon as I went over 120, we were at 127. The battery did shut down after about 10 seconds. Here we are on my workbench. We're gonna remove all the perimeter screws on the lid, and we're gonna try to open this thing up, look at the build quality, the BMS, see what kind of cells they're using. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop all these screws out real quick. All right, I have to say, just off the rip, being able to just remove some screws to open this thing up, I really, really like that. Lid just comes right off. There's the top. Very nice. Here's what the inside looks like. Let's try to bring you guys a little bit closer before I pull it out. All right, guys, here's the close-up of the inside of the battery. Off the rip, the build quality looks freaking awesome. I will say the last eco-worthy battery I took apart, I was also very impressed with the build quality. And so far looking in, this one also looks pretty good. It's got all the heat wrapping, helps with chafing and also heat to protect the wires from the battery and as well as going out of the battery. So that's good to see. Balance wires nice and heat shrinked and wrapped. Let's take a look at the BMS, shall we? I'm gonna pull these wires off, get them out of our way. Also, it's kind of interesting, they stuck on like a sticker label with some Kapton tape with what looks like 2 QR codes, and I think they peeled off one to put right here for the app. So that's kind of interesting. There is a close-up of the BMS. Looks like a JBD BMS from the logo. And as you can see, it says 120 amps. So that makes sense why we only got 120 out of it. I still wish it would have pushed a little higher, but personally, that doesn't bother me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the positive connection. Here's the negative connection, really nice. Crimped on. Got a really nice crimped on heat shrink connection. I like to see that. And this is how the connection is made through the case. So I'm also gonna pull these out because in order to get this whole top assembly off, we have to remove those. I'm gonna go ahead and remove and tape up the positive lead, remove and tape up the negative leads. That way we can get this whole plate out and take a look at the cells and how the cells are fastened together, how they are attached to each other. All right, so I got those things removed, and here's a closer look at those. They are very nice pieces. Very heavy, thick material there, a lot of material there, so that's what you want to see on your battery terminals, because if they were thin and small and dinky, they might create heat when you start putting a lot of load on them. And they also put a little insulator. These are plastic, but they also put a little rubber thing right here as well. So in here, we got all our connections disconnected from the BMS. I do have to remove the balance wires, the temperature sensor, and whatever this wire is. And as you can see, like I said before, balance wires are loomed up a little bit. I went ahead and removed 2 screws here, and I think this whole board's gonna lift up. Looks like they put some sort of goo or something right here to help secure these. So once again, you have a really thick, I think this is like a fiberglass material. I forgot what this is made out of, but it feels very thick and heavy duty. Backside looks like there was that goo I was taking off. All right, here's kind of a close-up of the inside of the battery. Hopefully I'm getting a good shot. So what I liked before about my other eco-worthy battery is they use metal straps and like a metal housing to compress the cells, and it looks like they're doing the same thing in this. I really love to see that. As you can see, they are laser welded. The balance wires are labeled as well as heat shrunk, and they are bolted to the bus bars. And they also put some goo to help kind of hold all the wires down. The temperature sensor is kind of just taped on the top right here. I don't really see a better spot. I guess you could have tucked it on the side somewhere, but that probably works okay. You really just need to sense the temperature to trigger the low temp cutoff, which this supposedly has, and we will test that. I'm gonna try to get a closer look at the cells now. All right, guys, I did just try to use the QR decoder on my phone. I was not able to get a reading on these cells, but I will zoom in and maybe y'all can see what you think about that, if you can see it. So yeah, there's what they look like. So I don't know. I'm not really quite sure what cells these are. I'm sure they're good quality cells. The ones in the other eco-worthy battery are also really good. All right, now I'm gonna partially reassemble this thing, put the BMS back in it and everything. That way we can test the low temperature cutoff. So I'm gonna take the temperature sensor, feed it through the top, reconnect everything like we had it before, and see if it works. But overall, I do believe the battery's built very well, and I'm really happy to see that they use the same kind of compression system they did in the other. Also, I didn't mention it before, there is fish paper material between each cells, as well as all around the pack itself. So good to see that. And it's hard to see in there as well, but there's bars running across like this with bolts that actually compress it, just like in the other eco-worthy battery we tore down. And this is so far the only battery brand I've seen that does that. The rest of them either use tape or some sort of compression bands, like plastic bands, which seems to do the job just fine. But this is a mechanical connection. It's not gonna budge, not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna make this very stout. Also, real quick, before I forget to mention, this is the other thing that was plugged into the BMS. It says SW on the BMS. That's where this plugs in at. And I went ahead and pulled it out of the battery, but this is what it looks like. So if anybody knows what this is, drop a comment. It says some stuff on it. It says 75 degrees C, so maybe it's a high temp cutoff or something, not really sure. But I am going to reinstall it. Okay, so now we're charging. Go ahead and take our temp sensor, stick it in frozen water. I'm gonna add some salt to that to make it a little colder. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I was not able to trigger the low temp charging protection on this thing. I don't think I was getting the temperature probe cold enough. What some people do is they use the compressed air in a can and they flip it upside down to spray ice out of it and hit the sensor, and that will get it a lot colder than you can get with ice. But unfortunately, I don't have that. So if you guys have this battery at home and you've verified the low temp protection works, just let me know in the comments. Unfortunately, I can't say if it works or doesn't. I'm sure it does. I'm just not getting it cold enough. Personally, I'm not worried about it because I live in Texas and I will never get this battery that cold. But if you live up north, that is something to keep in mind. Also, because it has a metal case, it will conduct temperature easier. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. All right, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this battery. As y'all saw, the capacity test did perfect. The discharge test left a little to be desired. If you're gonna pull over 120 amps, you're probably gonna have issues with it. Personally, I don't plan on doing that, so I don't think I'll have any issues, but something to keep in mind. You could probably go in there and change the BMS if it really worries you, if you really wanted to get more out of this battery. The build quality is really good. Just like the last eco-worthy battery we tested and tore apart, it also had a metal structure on the inside, and I was really happy to see that. This one is no different, very robust casing. I love the fact that you can easily take the case apart. So maybe potentially in the future, if you wanted to upgrade any of the components in here or service it or whatever, it's good to see that. I really do like that. The terminal design's really good. I was able to get these nice and snug without worrying about snapping them off. So whatever material they're using there is really good. But that's it, guys. I really don't have much else to say about it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are using one and what kind of look you guys have had. I had a lot of people leave comments on the last video about the eco-worthy battery, and a lot of y'all love them. So I'm really happy to hear that. In the future, I plan on getting some more eco-worthy batteries. I need to upgrade my 48-volt solar power system. I need to add more capacity. So I need to find a flavor of eco-worthy battery and get 4 of them. This is just going to be used for probably a portable generator project I would like to build, or just get put in service with the rest of my 12-volt batteries in my 12-volt solar power system, which I have to do an update video on that. Because now I have so many 12-volt batteries, we need to redo the whole system basically. But anyways, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you guys are the real MVPs, and I will see you all in the next one.